Now to Crime Tracker 10, and there's a growing concern over a potential surge in overdose deaths from a new drug circulating here in Central Ohio.
Today, the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation alerted every law enforcement agency in the state about it.
Oh, more's coming. This is part of a trend that we've been seeing for the last year. So the numbers in Central Ohio and across the state, we're seeing more and more of this parafluorofentanyl.
This is quite serious, which is why we have team coverage tonight with Crime Tracker 10's Angela and Lacey Crisp. Lacey will explain how police tracked it down.
But we begin with Angela and how law enforcement discovered this new surge.
Let's make sure you know what this new drug is called and what it looks like. Parafluorofentanyl. It is, by all accounts, deadlier than any other synthetic version law enforcement say they've seen. And they say death is instant.
So what they're doing is they're ultimately playing Russian roulette with their lives.
Chief Deputy Rick Meinert says there was no time to waste when the Franklin County Sheriff's Special Investigation Unit pulled over a car suspected of hauling 4 kilos of fentanyl.
Come on out. Hands up on the here.
We received information that we knew that a shipment was coming here. That shipment traveled from Mexico to California, and we knew that it was going to touch down here in Columbus, Ohio.
Half of that seizure contained parafluorofentanyl, the new potent synthetic version of the drug sweeping the country. PFF is considered even deadlier than carfentanil, which was the popular drug of choice years ago, even though that was 10,000 times more potent than morphine.
What are they cutting fentanyl with to make PFF?
They continuously, in these clandestine labs, they continuously change the molecular makeup of these drugs, and they make them more potent. Why? Because there's a desire out there on the street to chase that high, okay? And so folks are looking for that next high, that cheaper high.
It doesn't make sense why somebody wants to produce something so deadly and so powerful that it just has deadly effects on the customers.
PFF started to reemerge around the country a few years ago with warnings of its rapid spread and the growing overdose deaths. Coroners in New York say parafluorofentanyl was one of the drug combinations that killed actor Michael K. Williams in September.
It's the time to have a conversation. Whether you think you're touched by drugs or not, have a conversation with your kids.
And just to illustrate how quickly PFF is spreading, the Ohio Attorney General said in a public bulletin earlier today that last year there were only 4 known cases detected in a state crime lab. That was last year. Since then, you can see how that number has skyrocketed to today, 130. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Angela. Now, to give you a better idea of just how widespread this new drug is in Ohio, in the bulletin today, the state crime lab confirms the drug was detected in 70 of Ohio's 88 counties.
The discovery is part of a joint investigation with multiple police agencies, including Hilliard Police. Continuing our team coverage tonight, it's Crime Tracker 10's Lacey Crisp. She has new details on one of the latest arrests.
Well, the arrest happened here on 270 near Cemetery Road in Hilliard, a suburban area you might not think the cartel would reach.
Put your hands up!
This is dash camera video from Hilliard Police as they arrested Alvaro de Jesus Hernandez and Magali Ruelas Gonzalez. As a part of the 7-month-long joint investigation, Hilliard and the Franklin County Sheriff's Office tracked the suspects and 4 kilos of fentanyl, which included 2 kilos of parafluorofentanyl.
They came to me and said, hey, we've got this piece of information and we're working with the Sheriff's Office. And in a matter of days, then that led to this great arrest and a great seizure and hopefully help save some people's lives.
Police say the massive amount of drugs came from a cartel in Mexico and ended up in Central Ohio. Hilliard Deputy Police Chief Mike Woods says he doesn't want to think about what would have happened if the drugs had hit the streets instead of in evidence bags.
I don't want to imagine that. That's what's scary is that users of fentanyl may become accustomed to it. Then all of a sudden they're getting this super strong, more potent brand of it.
John Sprague is a pharmacist with the Attorney General's office and studies substance abuse. He warns how deadly the amount of parafluorofentanyl recovered can be.
A conservative estimate would be 2 million people.
He says cartels are changing the compounds in fentanyl to try to avoid prosecution, but this new brand targets the brain faster and is deadlier.
As a result, what we're seeing is potent, this toxicity that we've not seen before.
Woods argues the drugs could have killed those who unknowingly took the stronger fentanyl, his officers, or any of the first responders who came into contact with the drug.
Fentanyl is bad, really bad, and P-fentanyl is even worse. So knowing that that we were able to take at least 2 kilos off the streets, very significant for my community and for all of Central Ohio.
Sprague tells me BCI has already identified 19 different forms of fentanyl and says they'll continue to watch it spread. In Hilliard, Lacey Crisp, 10 TV News.
The Crime Tracker 10 is always working hard to alert you to criminal trends. If you see something concerning in your community, you can reach out to us. Email tips to crimetracker10@10tv.com.